Have you ever encountered a historical fact that just doesn't sit right? Something that clashes with everything you thought you knew, or everything you believe about justice and morality today? Well, today, we're staring directly into one of those moments. A moment that has fueled debates, sparked misunderstandings, and left countless people scratching their heads. We're going to talk about the marriage of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Aisha. Specifically, the age-old question: was Aisha truly 9 years old when the marriage was consummated? And if so, how do we, in the 21st century, even begin to process such a historical truth? This isn't about shying away. This isn't about sweeping difficult questions under the rug. This is about the Iqra Mind's commitment to seeking truth, no matter how uncomfortable, and understanding it through the lens of history, philosophy, and genuine inquiry. Prepare to look closer, to think deeper, and to challenge your own assumptions. Let's get straight to it. The primary sources of Islamic tradition, particularly the collections of hadith, the authenticated sayings and actions of the Prophet, do indicate that Aisha was around 6 years old when the marriage contract was made, and 9 years old when the marriage was consummated, or when she moved into the Prophet's household. These are reports from respected scholars who meticulously collected and authenticated these traditions over centuries. Now for many, hearing this for the first time, it's a jolt. It triggers immediate ethical alarm bells, rightly so, based on our contemporary understanding of childhood and marriage. But here's where the curiosity must take over from the initial shock. To truly understand, we cannot simply impose our present-day moral framework onto a past that functioned on entirely different principles. The truth is, these reports are part of the historical record. Denying them doesn't make the question go away. Instead, it prevents us from engaging with the deeper context and the philosophical challenge this presents. So, instead of rejection, let's pivot to investigation. Why was this considered acceptable then? Imagine a world without formal education, without universal health care, without codified laws governing childhood and marriage as we know them. That was 7th century Arabia. Life was often brutal, life expectancy was dramatically shorter, and children matured at a faster rate due to the demands of survival. In this society, a girl's physical maturity was a key factor in readiness for marriage, not chronological age as we strictly define it today. Marriage wasn't primarily a romantic union, it was a societal cornerstone for alliance, protection, and the continuation of family lines. Childhood, as a protected, extended period of play and learning, separate from adult responsibilities, simply did not exist in the same way. Girls were often considered ready for marriage upon reaching puberty, which could be as early as 9 or 10 in that climate. This isn't to justify the practice by modern standards, but to acknowledge the historical fact that it was a common, accepted norm across many cultures and civilizations of that era, from the Roman Empire to ancient India. This was the societal backdrop, the unquestioned reality of the time. The Prophet lived within this social structure, even as he was bringing radical change to its moral landscape. Now, let's integrate this specific marriage into the broader context of Prophet Muhammad's life and mission. His marriages, unlike those of many rulers, were rarely for personal pleasure alone. In fact, Aisha was the only virgin he married. All his other wives were widows or divorcees, many of whom had faced immense hardship or whose families needed protection. These unions served crucial societal, political, and even humanitarian purposes, forging alliances, integrating new tribes, caring for the vulnerable, and cementing the fledgling Muslim community. Aisha's marriage, viewed through this lens, also held unique significance. She was exceptionally intelligent, with a prodigious memory. Her close proximity to the Prophet from a young age meant she absorbed his teachings directly, becoming one of the most vital sources of hadith and Islamic law. She later became a renowned scholar, teaching men and women for decades after the Prophet's passing. Her youth, in this specific context, paradoxically allowed her to become a long-term, authoritative witness and teacher of the nascent faith. This wasn't merely a personal choice. It was woven into the fabric of a much larger, divine mission. Furthermore, Aisha's father Abu Bakr was the Prophet's closest and most trusted companion, later becoming the first leader of the Muslim community. The marriage cemented an unbreakable bond between these two pivotal figures, vital for the early survival and spread of Islam. This was a deep-seated alliance of families, common in that era, born out of profound friendship and shared purpose. So, how do we, with our contemporary moral compass, reconcile these historical truths? This is where philosophy truly comes alive. Firstly, it requires radical empathy and intellectual humility. We must strive to understand, not just to judge. Acknowledge that practices common in one era can be abhorrent in another. This doesn't mean we endorse or reintroduce past practices, but it allows us to engage with history honestly. Secondly, it speaks to the evolution of human consciousness. As humanity progresses, guided by divine wisdom and increasing understanding, our ethical frameworks expand. What was once common becomes questioned, then eventually phased out. This trajectory of moral progress, arguably, is inherent in the spirit of divine revelation itself, which aims to elevate humanity over time. Finally, it forces us to distinguish between timeless principles and contextual applications. The core principles of Islam, justice, compassion, dignity, purity, are eternal. How these principles are manifested, understood, and regulated in society can change with time and culture. The challenge is to hold on to the timeless wisdom while navigating the evolving human condition. The truth about Aisha's age, while challenging, opens a crucial philosophical dialogue about how we interpret history, how societies change, and how faith interacts with the progression of human understanding. It compels us to think beyond simplistic narratives. The story of Prophet Muhammad and Aisha is a testament to the complexities of history, the nuances of faith, and the ongoing human journey towards greater understanding. It's a reminder that truth, especially historical truth, is often multi-layered and demands deep inquiry, not just quick judgment. What are your thoughts on confronting challenging historical facts with modern sensibilities? How do you reconcile cultural context with what you believe are universal ethical principles? Share your reflections in the comments below. Let's continue this vital conversation. If this deep dive sparked your curiosity and made you think, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the Iqra Mind community as we continue to unlock deeper realities, one thought-provoking question at a time. Until next time, keep seeking, keep reflecting, and keep asking the difficult questions.